Hello everyone. Hello and welcome you all in 4th Doctor of Engineering Conference 2024 Day 2 Session 2. So here I am Dr. Deepali Shende and Dr. Vishal Sharma, Faculty of Engineering Institute of Technology is coordinating this session. The agenda of this session is first, we will have a workshop session which will be presented by Dr. Arti Siddhpura. Then we will have a student poster presentation followed by followed by a summary of conference by Dr. Vishal Sharma and concluding session by our Deputy Dean, Ms. Indumathi. So let us start with our first part of the session, that is workshop 2. The title of workshop is Academic and Research Ethics and Integrity Workshop, which is presenting by Dr. Arti Siddhpura. So let me introduce Dr. Arti Siddhpura. Arti Siddhpura is a prominent figure in the mechanical engineering education, and she is having more than 18 years of experience. At the Engineering Institute of Technology, she holds a distinguished position overseeing the Bachelors of Mechanical Engineering, Graduate Certificate in Structural Engineering, and serves as the Deputy Coordinator of Doctor of Engineering courses. So, Dr. Arti's expertise lies in crafting and delivering mechanical engineering curricula, both at the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Her impact extends beyond borders, as she has nurtured students across diverse mechanical engineering domains in Australia and internationally. Dr. Arti is also deeply involved in guiding and supervising master thesis and Doctor of Engineering candidate, ensuring their scholarly growth and success. In addition to her educational responsibilities, Dr. Arti assumes the vital role of recognition of prior learning, that is RPL coordinator, where she oversees quality assurance and policy formulation, ensuring the integrity and rigor of academic standard. Dr. Arti's research interests orbit around the dynamic realm of conditioning monitoring, automation, and unmanned tool wear prediction methodologies. Now, I request Dr. Arti, please proceed with the workshop. Thank you, Arti.
Thank you very much for this intro, Dr. Dipali. I'm quite humbled. All right, so without further ado, let's start the workshop. Here is the agenda of the workshop. We'll just quickly go through the intro. Then we will define academic and research ethics. What does it cover? Common types of research misconduct, extent of research misconduct, some recent cases, misconduct penalties, research misconduct at EIT. I would like to highlight a couple of examples there as well. Possible causes and how to prevent research misconduct. And obviously, we will also have a look at AI because that is an upcoming technology, and we all need to be quite aware about the role AI plays in terms of research ethics and how we can maintain research ethics in presence of AI. Now, before I move on to the next slide, just a quick question to all of you. Why do we need to maintain academic and research ethics? Why it's important? Please let me know through the chat box if you can access the chat box. All right, so I can see some of the comments coming up. Our work must be authentic. We need to observe the copyrights and other intellectual property rights of the other people to maintain our university standards. Ethics is always important in life as well. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, everyone, for your interaction. I really appreciate that. I would also like to add that academic and research integrity also maintains credibility, trustworthiness, as well as it lays the ethical foundation for all the academics as well as researchers. Now, being in academia, we need to hold those standards up very high so that our research stays credible, trustworthy, as well as we all follow that ethical framework. Right, coming to the next one. I'm not sure what's going on with the slides. But here we are trying to define the academic and research ethics. So it's a set of moral and professional principles. I would say it's a no-brainer. As academics and researchers, we need to be honest, trustworthy. We need to maintain integrity. Academic honesty is important. We need to have that respect for intellectual property of others, as well as we need to have professionalism. What I would do, perhaps, I would just stop sharing because the slides are not coming up really properly. What I will do, I will just upload slides maybe one more time. Now, this will take a bit of time. My apologies, everyone. I made some very last moment changes, and that's affecting this slides. Let me see if this one works. All right, yep, much better. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Moving on. Apart from academic ethics, we also need to keep in the mind our research ethics. So a lot of you are working on your research journey at various different stages. So we need to consider quite a few different things while keeping up our research ethics. So one of the thing is this consent, informed consent. If we are working with that sort of participants, we also need to ensure that data remains quite integrated. We also need to take into account publication ethics, responsible conduct of research, safety and well-being of the participants. Conflict of interest is a tricky one, but we need to always keep that in mind. Respect for cultural and social diversity and compliance with regulations. All right, coming to common types of research misconduct. What would you consider as common type of research misconduct? So one is not meeting required research standards. This is very obvious, I would say. So if you conduct the research without ethics approval, which is usually required by the ethics approving body, that is a research misconduct. Again, if you have ethics approval, but you fail to conduct the research as approved by that appropriate ethics review body, that is also misconduct. Then we have fabrication, falsification, misrepresentation. So if we fabricate the data or source material, if we falsify some of the data to get some desired results, or if we misrepresent research data or source material, we falsify or misrepresent to obtain funding, doesn't matter whatever our main motive is, but it is all research misconduct. The next one is plagiarism. So plagiarism is taking someone else's work that also includes their presented theories, concepts, research data, research idea, and any other form of source material without giving them due credit, or sometimes duplicate publication, which is also known as redundant or multiple publication, or self-plagiarism. That is more appropriate word here. So we just keep churning out more and more papers based on that same research that we have published somewhere else without making any significant changes. Research data management can also result in some sort of research misconduct. So failure to appropriately maintaining research records, inappropriate destruction of research records, etc. Supervision, so again, failure to provide adequate guidance or mentorship can also result in research misconduct. Authorship, so failure to acknowledge the contribution of all the authors. There might be more than one author for a given article. A lot of people might have contributed towards that in various different forms. So we need to identify all those people as co-authors. We need to give them due credit. Also, misleading ascription of authorship, including failing to offer authorship to those who actually qualify. And we also have conflict of interest, as I've already mentioned. So failure to disclose and manage any such conflicts of interest can also lead to research misconduct. Peer review. So failure to conduct peer review responsibly is also a type of research misconduct. So this one covers a lot of research misconducts over here based on 2018 Code of Conduct for Research in Australia. All right, let's try to have a look at the extent of research misconduct. Now, you might think that my presentation is talking a lot of negativity in terms of people not doing the right thing, not observing the research ethics, and why I'm trying to bring it all up in this session. So extent of research misconduct is quite high, and this one is taken from the publication, a 2020 publication. In this particular one, we can see the geolocation of authors with a number of restrictions. As you can see, China has produced quite a lot of number of authors whose publications were restricted. Similarly, we can see quite a high number of research restrictions from other countries as well. I think this resulted in somewhere about 12,000 or so restrictions as per this particular paper. Here they have given the breakdown. That's the same research I'm referring to. They have given the breakdown of restrictions in terms of area of research. So you can see biochemistry and molecular biology has the highest number of restrictions, followed by environmental science and ecology, and so on. You can see science and technology coming up in the top positions. Similarly, engineering in general, material science have quite a few restrictions as well. So extent of research misconduct is quite high. A lot of papers are being restricted every day on the basis of some sort of research misconduct. And it can go from simple plagiarism, self-plagiarism, all the way up to falsifying and fabricating data. And that's why it's super important for us to understand so that we know how to avoid them. So here are some of the recent famous research misconduct cases I would like to highlight. Dr. Suk was working on this stem cell research. He was a Korean scientist, and misconduct here was falsification and fabrication. Another case is Dr. Sean from Bell Laboratory, very well-reputed Bell Laboratory, and again, falsification and fabrication were highlighted as the main research misconducts. Eric Bowman, University of Vermont, and again, fabrication, falsification are the main theme of the research misconduct. Ali Sultan, Howard School of Public Health, fabrication is the case here, and Dr. Luc Van Parijs from MIT, again, falsification and fabrication. So just to give you an idea, what are the main themes when it comes to very high-level research misconduct. So you can see a lot of similar theme occurring in all those different cases. So once we have had a look at the research misconducts, let's have a look at the penalties. Now, penalties for research misconduct vary significantly. Again, it also depends on what exact level, circumstances, so many different factors, and also the scope. All right, so I would give you some pointers here. So here are some of the research misconduct penalties that you can see. So academic and professional consequences are always there. You might lose research funding, academic position and tenure is seized as well. People might get disqualified from research award and honors. There are some legal consequences, more serious ones, civil and criminal charges like fraud. Fines and financial penalties might be imposed as well, and potential imprisonment. Institutional actions can also result here. So investigations and sanctions might be there. Research paper restrictions are the very common one, and revocation of degree can also happen. Ethical and personal impacts. It might result in damage to personal and professional relationships, emotional, psychological stress, and loss of trust within academic community. I think this is the biggest one. And it can also result in career setbacks. So people with research misconduct background, they may find it difficult when it comes to securing future research positions, grants, opportunities, etc. And legal liability for institutions. So institutions can also face lawsuits and financial penalties for failing to address this research misconduct appropriately. So here are some of the recommended approach or guideline for managing and investigating potential breach of code as per Australian Code of Responsible Conduct, 2018 code. So the first step, it's more like a flow chart, very logical here, and more or less most universities, research institutes, they all follow the similar approach. So once they receive the complaint and it appears to be related to potential breach, they would just do the preliminary assessment. They would try to find the evidence. So if they find the evidence for potential breach, then they would proceed in that direction. If no evidence is found, then either the complaint would be referred to other institutional processes or it might be dismissed. So next step here would, they will receive the response. And then next step would be based on that response, evidence and complexity. Again, they would look at the resolving the complaint locally, or complaint might be referred for further investigation. Now, complaint might be referred for other institutional processes, or it might also get dismissed at this stage. So after it's referred to the external bodies, investigation by the panel takes place. Again, two possible outcomes, finding the breach or no breach. And no breach, again, could result in allegation referred to other institutional processes or total dismissal. Now, if breach is found, then determination and recommendation of action following that. And here are some of the outcomes. So let's have a look at those famous cases. What were the final penalties? The first case, Korean stem cell research, it resulted in termination and criminal charges. This Bell laboratory scientist, termination and revocation of his doctoral degree. University of Vermont academic, criminal, civil, and administrative charges, termination, debarment for life, monetary penalty, and jail time. Quite severe penalties, I would say. Ali Sultan suffered termination and debarred for 3 years. And in this case, Dr. Lukwan Paris, termination was the penalty for the research misconduct. As I've said, I would like to highlight a couple of cases from EIT. So this case one, is coming from a thesis submitted by master's student, and that one had a lot of similarity highlighted by Turnitin in their modeling chapter. Now, student didn't cite any reference, and the thesis examiner actually raised this misconduct. So they also requested verbal examination. And during that verbal examination, student agreed that the part of that particular chapter was taken by the student's other work, but the student didn't refer to that work, and it led to the misrepresentation that it was done by the student. So, sorry, the thing was taken by someone else's work. Now, can you think if it's misconduct, research misconduct, academic misconduct, and if so, what could be the penalty here? So I'll just move on, keeping the things on time. Yep, so failed thesis, as Dr. Vishal has already suggested, that was the final penalty given. And it was after a lot of investigation, not just stopping over here, a lot of back and forth, a lot of investigation, gathering a lot of evidence, and then final penalty was given more or less following that guidelines. Second case here came up from this mature age master student, submitted a thesis containing 500 plus pages. And again, the concern was raised by the examiner of the thesis. student had significant amount of experience working in the industry, and some appendices of the thesis, they also had the logo of the companies with whom the student worked. Examiner wasn't convinced that this much work can be done within the given time. Now, just for your reference, our master's thesis is like 1 semester worth of work. So in 1 semester or 12 weeks time, it's really hard to believe that someone can produce around 500 plus pages of research work or thesis. So again, a lot of back and forth was there, and the case lasted for quite a long time. Student was finally given warning. So here are some of the EIT Research Code of Conduct and other policies that I would like to highlight. So we have EIT Research Code of Conduct here. It's also available on the website. I would show when I will start sharing my screen. This is the Research Integrity and Research Misconduct Policy, and also the rise of AI tools and Research Misconduct Policy, and also the rise of AI tools. What is EIT's stand is highlighted in this one. So these are some really important ones. I'll see if I can copy and paste them into the chat box for you all. And the last one, I'll come back to the AI tools towards the end. Now, what are the possible causes for research misconduct? So there are some structural factors. As we all know, many institutes have this publish or perish kind of culture. Everyone is really pressurized to churn out a lot of research, gain a lot of research grants in order to gain some promotion and maintain their position within the institute. There are some organizational factors as well, like ambitions plans the organization is having. Say, for example, if someone says, okay, I want to see my university in top 20 list, all right, so the world-class top 20, then it will put a lot of pressure on people who are trying to work in terms of research. There might be some cultural factors as well. So that is lack of knowledge, no neutral cultural background, situational factors like people, these are some of the personal things, financial problems, marital or relationship issues, health conditions, all those things can also add up. And individual factors, so people might have poor judgment, lack of training, etc. So what can we do to prevent the research misconduct? I would give you some other pointers as well, but some simple, very basic pointers. A lot of other things will depend on your own values, ethics, and professionalism that you hold. But apart from that, if you just follow these couple of guidelines, it can help you tremendously. So to start with, we can use research manager software so that we can cite as we write, and we also come up with proper bibliography or list of our references. So that's one thing. Second thing we can do is paraphrasing. Now I will demonstrate this Zotero in a moment, but before we go into and have a look at the Zotero, I would also like to highlight paraphrasing. We cannot just copy and paste someone else's idea as is. So we have to have our own rendition of essential information and ideas which are expressed by someone else in that other different article, and we need to present them in our own form. The one legitimate way is to do paraphrasing when we want to borrow or we want to mention someone else's work or ideas. And there are quite a few different ways. I wouldn't go into the detail, but just some of the things: convert positive statement into a negative one, that it looked at so-and-so research, but it did not look at so-and-so, something like that. Active to passive is a one simple example. Restructure the statement starting from the last part, bringing it forward and ending it with the first part of the statement. These are just some of the guidelines. But now all right. So paraphrasing, I wouldn't be digging a lot into deeper, but what I would do, I would actually share my screen and I would just quickly show you this research manager software. Those who are doing my DEng 602 unit, perhaps they already are aware about this because I usually do this demo. All right, so I hope you all can see my screen. I will come back to your question, Abhimola. Thank you for that question. But yes, please remind me. I will touch base on AI as well, and then perhaps I will try to respond to that question. So this is Zotero. I have suggested two, Zotero and Mendeley. They are both free research manager software. I would just quickly scroll down. It's an open source developed by independent nonprofit organization. We can continue using that. So you need to download Zotero. So once you've downloaded Zotero, this is how it will look like. Now you can see I have quite a few folders in my library, but your library might be empty. You can search up what you want. Google Scholar is a very good source to search up some authentic articles, peer-reviewed articles. So if you want to search up some keywords, just use them. And you can see here I'm searching AI in research and ethics. Now, if you want to cite those articles, you can cite them using two different ways. So Zotero also comes with plugin. You can have a plugin for Zotero, something like this, and it is a Chrome plugin. So you can download that as well, and you can cite any website or any blog or any such things, which is not a journal or conference article. Say, for example, if this is here, and if I want to cite that, all I have to do is save to Zotero. So once I open that, even if it's available or not available as full text, I'll just, okay, DEng 602, that's fine. I can use that folder and I will say done. Say this is the second article that I have opened, and I would simply go over here and I would say I would like to save this to Zotero. Again, DEng 602 and done. I haven't used this method since long, but you can also cite the article from the list itself. So say, for example, I want to cite this AI ethics in industry, a research framework. So this is already over here, cite, and I think RefMan or RefWorks, I'm not sure because I haven't done this in quite some time. So it will already ask us if we would like to cite it using Zotero here. If we are happy, can cite that as well. You can use RefWorks, I think. No, not RefWorks. RefMan is the way to go. So RefMan will bring you over here at this plugin. All right, how do they look like in Zotero? So let's close this. Let's open Zotero. These were already there. This research framework has been added. This one is added. All right, so these are some of the references we have added. You can continue adding those references and you can continue building up. When you're writing your thesis chapter, let me share this. This is my Microsoft Word. Microsoft Word also has this Zotero add-in, so you can download that Word add-in as well, and it will give you this interface to work with Zotero. Say I'm writing an article on AI and research ethics. I've just added a few sentences from my end, and I would like to add in-text citations here. So I would just go to this Zotero once I have the add-in, and I can say add or edit citation. Let me see if I can my mouse highlight. All right, so add or edit citation from here. So as I click onto that, it will open this. First thing it would ask is what is your citation style? At EIT, we usually prefer IEEE, but again, if you're writing a journal paper and planning to submit to a very specific journal or conference, they might have their own specific requirements for citation style. So say, for example, I would say IEEE, and let's say, okay. So then it will ask us to select our article. I would go to classic view, and these are the articles. Say, for example, I would like to have in-text citation for this. Say, select that, say OK. And that is added here in the form of IEEE citation. I would add one more, say, for example, I would like to add something over here. So again, add or edit citation. It asks for the citation style for only once, and then it will just bring you to this one. We can select the second one, say okay, and we will add one more here. One last one, I promise. And this one. All right, so 3 in-text citations have been added. Now, if I want a bibliography at the end, I can have this, make sure my cursor is at the end, and I can ask Zotero to add or edit bibliography. So this one will create the bibliography for all the in-text citations that we have added. Now, at this point, they are all linked with Zotero. And the benefit of having them linked with Zotero until the very, very last moment is that if you want to change anything at the last moment, say, for example, one journal rejected your paper, you want to submit that to the other journal, and they have a different citation style. So in that case, you can simply go to document preferences, say it's not IEEE anymore, I want elsewhere Howard. And so far as it's linked with Zotero, it will automatically change this. So you don't have to remember everything. You don't have to keep going back and forth and extracting all the details of your in-text citation or bibliography. And pretty good chances when you're writing literature review or overall thesis that you would have a lot of research papers to keep track of. All right, so this is your Zotero. Now, there are some limitations as well. At times, it may not bring all the information, so just be careful. Manually checking everything is our own responsibility. All right, while we are here, I would also like to highlight this EIT policies, research code of conduct, research integrity and misconduct, and rise of AI tools. Now, rise of AI tools, I will show you a couple more guidelines in terms of AI tools, but just wanted to highlight that when you submit any assessment, you all submit it with this cover page. You all sign this cover page. And what does it say here? These are the institute guidelines, right? So please make sure that you follow your institute guidelines. When you tick into the box and when you sign, that means you are abiding by those guidelines, all right? So please keep that in mind. Going back to my slides. So here are some other guidelines as well. You can see. We can be aware about authorship. We can also be aware about data management, research records. We should maintain a meticulous record of the research data. It should be sufficiently detailed in order to authenticate the records, reproduce the research results, and confirm the validity. It's super important. And also training and responsibilities. We cannot undermine the importance of those things. Lastly, I would like to highlight Australia's AI ethics principles. So these are the 8 AI ethics principles or guidelines designed to ensure that AI is safe, secure, and reliable. So we have human, societal, environmental well-being in the center. There are human-centered values, fairness, privacy protection, security, reliability, and safety. They also highlighted the transparency and explainability, contestability, and accountability of the AI. So one more time, I would like to highlight this responsible use of AI tools at EIT and upholding academic integrity. Coming back to your question, Abhimola, Grammarly is permitted so far. It depends on the extent of the use. So far as you're using it just to correct your grammar. If you're asking some AI to generate the entire paragraph or entire work for you, then it's not acceptable. Each of our higher education program at EIT is TEXA approved program, and that also means that TEXA has asked us to come up with some graduate attributes. By completing that program, you will be achieving those graduate attributes. So graduate attributes also include communication skills and a lot of other aspects. So if you are using AI to help you with writing, then perhaps your communication skills are not at par with what Texa wants us to have in our graduates. All right, so that's the case. So yeah, that's all from my end, everyone. Any questions? Any other comments, feedback? Please let me know.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Arti, for this insightful workshop and emphasizing on ethics and the importance of integrity. So I'm sure it will be helpful to all participants during their research. Now, I just wanted to ask one more thing. In short, what we should remember, that means what important ethical considerations should researchers keep in mind when collaborating with colleagues or partners in regard with intellectual property. So can you
Yeah, sure. Thank you for that question, Dr. Dipali. While collaborating with others, I think consent is one of the most important ones. We need to ensure that everyone is happy, everyone is going to contribute. And one more thing is it's all the collaborators' responsibility to check the work. One cannot take the back seat and then later on blame everyone else that, okay, when I wasn't looking at it, you all did this, you all submitted this. It's everyone's responsibility to check the work and ensure that we are following the ethical procedure and framework properly. So, yep, that's super important.
okay, thank you so much. Is there any question from other participants? Okay, then quickly we'll move ahead. Thank you, Dr. Arti, for this presentation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So our next part of the session is poster presentation. So it is requested all participant to join this session by using the DEng presentation student link, which is already shared with you. So thank you so much, all of you. See you there. Hello and welcome you all. So here to recap throughout these 2 days, we are here. So here in 2 days, we have covered many things in the conference like presentation, expert talks, workshop, etc. And now time came to summarize all these things. So to summarize this, we have here Dr. Vishal Sharma, our DNG conference coordinator, to give us the summary of the conference. So over to you, Dr. Vishal.
Thank you, Dr. Dipali. Uh, Thank you, all of you, for joining. As I recap the impactful 2 days we spent at fourth Doctor of Engineering conference organized by EIT. Day one, we began with the Deputy Dean Ms. Indumathi setting the stage, sharing the goals of our institute and what we hope to achieve at the conference. Dr. Steve McKay, our dean, then talked about transforming engineering with AI, showing us exciting ways AI can improve our work. Dr. Amit Agrawal followed with his innovative use of machine learning to detect diseases in strawberries, opening our eyes to new applications of AI. We also heard from Professor Akhtar Kalam about decarbonizing the Australian economy, and Dr. Dibakar Rakshit discussed the potential of grid-scale thermal energy storage. 7 of our DEng students presented their research work on first day, and they are Abate, George, Paul, Jules, Mohammed, Sohail, Christabel, Ihadami Ibazebo. Day 2, Dr. Milind led a workshop on AI tools for research, which could revolutionize how we approach our research. Dr. Vincent Wang discussed using algorithm to monitor the health of civil structures as essential topic for safety and sustainability. Student presentations continued with Vitalis, Tanveer Zafar, and Mohammad Alrian sharing their work, adding to depth of research at our conference. We concluded with Dr. Arti Siddhpura's workshop on ethics and integrity in research, reminding us of the importance of maintaining high standards. The conference wrapped up with a poster session where Abimbola and Jules Bikoka presented their work, receiving great feedback. So in total, we had 5 expert talks, 2 workshops, 10 DEng student presentations, and 2 poster presentations. All sessions went as per plan, and were well attended. And the next step is we will be compiling these papers in a book form, in the form of a conference proceedings, and we will give students with 4 weeks time to submit these book chapters. The book will be ready in 6 weeks time from now, and over these 2 days we had a lot of learning and got a lot of inspiration, and thank you EIT for providing us this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vishal, for providing the insight on conference. Now I request our Deputy Dean of Engineering Institute of Technology, Australia, Ms. Indumathi, to conclude the conference.
Thank you, Dr. Deepali. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us in our concluding session. Now, as we come to the end of this enriching 2-day Doctor of Engineering conference, I would like to take a moment to reflect on some of the knowledge we have gained and the insights we have shared through this platform. Firstly, I want to express my deepest gratitude to all the esteemed speakers who have taken their time to share both their invaluable experience as well as their expertise in their research. Your contributions not only has broadened our horizons, but has sparked curiosity and inspiration among us, and hopefully our students felt the same as well. Over the past 2 days, we've delved into a wide array of topics, and Dr. Vishal mentioned, in detail all those different topics. So we covered ranging from sustainable engineering practices to the latest advancements in the AI side of things. And one of the key learning experience for our students is they have been given the opportunity to present their work. So while they have learned, how to present and manage some time effectively, we did notice that some presentations exceeded the allocated time. So going forward, the conference team will be working on strategies to ensure that presentations are concise and we stick with the allocated time frame. To also maintain the quality and to encourage excellence in future, we will also be implementing a peer review process for papers being submitted for the conference proceedings. And students will be asked, or any submissions in fact, will be asked to make corrections based on the feedback before we then take them on for the final versions of our conference proceedings. I would also like to encourage all our internal academic team to present their research alongside our external experts, because this will foster a culture of knowledge sharing and continuous learning within EIT as well. Now, the thought-provoking topics and sessions are very important for collaboration and also to look at the interdisciplinary way of engineering, and we can use these synergies to drive meaningful innovation and tackle the complex problems we have in our time. What I would suggest the conference organizers would be next year or next conference, we should also have a little bit of a focus on the UN Sustainable Development Goals and have a little bit of a theme around that as well for our conference. Now, I would like to take this time to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of the organizing committee, Dr. Vishal, Dr. Arti, Dr. AK, Dr. Sasha, as well as our supporting team, Dr. Deepali, Dr. Milind, Dr. Igor, Dr. Anna, and Dr. Harrison. Now, I would like to also say, importantly, thank all the attendees. Your active participation and your insightful questions and constructive feedback are what makes our conferences better each year. This is our 4th conference. I hope to see many more to come in the future. Now, your thirst for knowledge as well as the commitment to continuous learning is what makes such events worthwhile, and it makes our conference team, organizing committees, work valuable. So thank you once again for being a part of this wonderful conference, and I look forward to seeing you all in our next conference. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Indu, and a big thank you to everyone for their active participation and valuable inputs. Your contribution makes a difference, so we really appreciate your time and commitment. So let us keep the lines of communication open, stay connected, and have a great day to all of you. Bye for now. Thank you. Thank you so much.